beverage.
Get a beverage. Get a
It's time for a beverage.
Time to get a drink.
All right, what you gonna be drinking today?
I don't know. I use. Oh,
Brandon Fugal?
What the hell? Hey, let's mix it up.
And welcome to Mixtape Generation. I'm Adam.
Chance here.
And our special guest,
Brandon Fugal.
Mr. Brandon Fugal.
Thank you,
You might
Brandon.
know him from Secret of Skinwalker Ranch or the greatest commercial real estate mogul of the USA, if not the world.
Wow. No, I'm only as good as my next deal. So, you're only as good as your next project. So I wake up every morning perpetually unemployed. So it's good to be with you, gentlemen. Wow.
We're so excited
What
to
a
have you here on the
fantastic
show.
opportunity.
We're so grateful.
Yeah, this is going to be a great show.
Brandon did bring some classic cassette tapes.
Yeah, so in
look at
honor
these.
of really the theme of Mixtape Generation, I opened my drawer at the office just an hour ago, and I had a collection of cassette tapes from my youth, and just kind of grabbed them just to bring for
Fantastic.
for some discussion purposes. So
Pyromania.
Def Leppard, Pyromania. You've got Berlin, Love Life. You have Scorpions, Love It for Sting. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Depeche Mode.
Appetite for Destruction could be the greatest album of the 80s.
Yeah, there's so
Potentially.
many. Well,
No, okay, I take that back. That was a dumb comment.
no, it's
Joshua Tree might be the greatest album of the 80s.
and
There's so many great ones.
I don't know. I have my favorites,
We
and
we
we look
can
forward to
talk about
discussing
that,
them
yeah.
because I'm very opinionated when it comes to music.
No, really?
Also executive producer of a series called Professor of Rock with my
Yes.
dear friend Adam Reeder. Adam Reeder is
we love- yes.
he's a savant. I mean, he literally is the professor of rock and is an expert in all things pop culture and music specifically. And I've had the privilege of executive producing a number of his episodes, of course, over the years. And I think you guys embody not only the spirit of that, but also, your hometown. I mean, Adam, you and I have known each other our whole lives, and it's good to come back together in this format and have a battle of wits relative
Yes,
to
it might become
music.
a battle.
Yes.
There could be some blood
Yes,
spilled
there
before
will
this
be
show's
blood.
over. Brandon and I, we go a little deeper. We do go blood deep. Just so you know, the audience, we're actually related.
Yeah.
If he claims me, I don't know.
We're second cousins.
Yes.
We also were on drumline together, so we played drums.
Yes.
Pleasant Grove High School. I kind of sucked. I was better at playing piano and keyboards, but Adam was kind to me, especially as we were in like 100-degree. Remember 100-degree weather in marching band.
Yeah.
Stadium of Fire.
The Provo parade, 5
Yeah.
mile parade.
Yeah.
Dying. We were dying.
I'll never forget Todd Bills. So there's this guy, Todd Bills, and
We love you, Todd.
He was right there up front. He was an incredible drummer and perfectionist, and he hated slackers and people that were not prepared, which included me. And if I couldn't keep time, he let me have it, and I deserved it. But Adam would always pull me up, and I was fortunate to have him as a mentor in high school. But so we all hail from Pleasant Grove, although you're from Sandy, which
Yeah.
we'll forgive you from not being in our beloved Utah County.
But he has now become a honorary Viking.
That's right.
He's an honorary
My
Viking.
kids have gone there, so.
So one thing we also share is we're all children of the 80s. So
Yes, we are.
80s pop culture, fashion, music, movies, you name it.
I have got some good questions for you
Yeah.
about all of that. That's going to all come to fruition here in just a moment. But we're doing something fun today on the show. As you see, we've got a keyboard set up, got the laptop going here.
Okay.
And you watching this may or may not know about Brandon is, and he mentioned it already, he's a keyboard player, played in a killer band in the 2000s,
Well,
mid-2000s?
I had a secret project called
Supplicant, yes.
back in the 2000s that I had just behind the scenes,
so
kind of
good.
reviving my passion for songwriting and electronic music from my youth. I had a bunch of rock bands growing up, so from junior high to high school, and we were a mix of cover bands, but we also played a lot of the hits back then of the 80s, and even though I've forgotten a lot of that, and if you don't stay in practice, you become very dusty. At least I do, and it's been, I was telling Adam, 15 plus years since I really got my synthesizers out, and so this is going to be a good. I'm to say that they're cobwebs is an understatement. I'm rusty beyond compare, but I love music and was really the principal songwriter and synth player, keyboardist of my rock bands and new wave bands growing up. But we grew up in a magical time.
Oh,
the
best of times.
Yeah, and the number of hits that still define the sonic landscape of our world really came from that era to a large degree. I mean,
And you still hear it, so much today.
the mixtape generation really does have such an impact on culture. I mean, you look at the nostalgia, everything from Stranger Things to Cobra Kai, so much nostalgia, and it's because there was a special emergence of creativity that came out of that era. I mean, I think the ability to merge technology with your other instruments, the rise of synthpop, and even rock bands like Motley Crue using synthesizers. Van Halen, I mean, you look at Van Halen, everyone thinks of Eddie Van Halen as one of the greatest guitar players of all time, but in truth, he is also one of the most talented keyboard players.
Yeah.
And you think of Jump, which is kind of the quintessential Van Halen anthem, and that's a synth-driven
Song,
song. You look at one of the greatest power ballads of all time, "Home Sweet Home." I would say it's the greatest of all time, so really it's a rock anthem for the ages. And you've got Tommy Lee, who of course is on drums, but he actually does double duty and jumps on the keys and starts that. And I can't I used to be able to know. How did that go? I can't even remember it. I used to know all this. Yeah. Hold away.
We're going to get to that.
I knew where it started.
We're going to get there.
It's kind of like I remember where these things started. But
That's cool.
Again, all of my synths have been in storage for a long time. But what an amazing time. This is your show.
All right.
You have the conch.
Chance, do you want to introduce what we're doing today?
So during the brainstorm session, we're always listening to 80s music. We got a lot of playlists, we got a lot of mixtapes, and we were thinking, what is unique, something unique about the 80s, and it is the synthesizer. And so we thought, what are some good songs that highlight the synthesizer, the keyboards in their intro? And Brandon mentioned one of them, Van Halen's Jump. And
Home Sweet Home.
And Home Sweet Home. Yeah.
Axel F. Remember Axel F?
Oh, yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop.
I didn't put that on my list. Shoot.
Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I can't. I mean, again, I'm not. I'm going to give up while I'm ahead, but I'll quit while I'm ahead. But no, you're right. So much was driven by synth and piano. Even you look at Chicago. I mean, some of the most memorable tunes that came out of Chicago 17. Again, a mid-'80s sample of, let's see.
David, what's his name? David Foster, yeah. Right now, those hits for Chicago.
Yeah, You're the Inspiration, Hard Habit to Break.
Yes.
So much. Journey.
Look Away.
Journey was a big, you look at even now, Journey so much driven by keyboard synth.
Even though it was Neil Sean's band.
Yeah, but Jonathan Cain.
Jonathan Cain came in.
Yeah.
There goes the rock. Here comes the ballads.
Exactly. And so you've got like Open Arms. Let's see. I don't know.
That was great.
Go from there. Yeah. So
fantastic.
so many hits. And again, I really, no bullshit, I haven't touched my synthesizers in a long time. Like I don't even, they're somewhere in storage in my basement.
We need to change that.
That's going to change. I'm going to repent. And
we're calling him to repentance. Now.
This episode of Mixtape is a call to repentance. And I will
all of us.
pull my crap together. So anyway.
All right, so let's jump in. What we're going to do is, we probably won't hit all these, but we'll hit a lot of these on the list. And there's more, believe me. I mean, you've named some already.
Yeah.
I have a guy I work with, Adam. Shout out to Adam, who sent me his list of and some of the songs I don't even know. You might know Bronski Beat.
Of course.
Yeah, I know you'll know that.
Yeah, Jimmy Somerville, Bronski Beat.
Yeah, see, I know you'll.
Big Tech Band. Yeah.
Okay, and
although the original vocalist was not Jimmy Somerville, it was a guy named John. So Hit That Perfect Beat, which kind of kicked off Bronski Beat's globe-trotting synth-pop mastery, was really originally helmed by a lead singer named John, but then Jimmy Somerville came on, and Jimmy Somerville, who has this really high voice, that is, I mean, his vocal range is incredible. I mean, he and Andy Bell of Erasure pretty much set a whole new tone for synth-pop vocals to a degree between their dueling voices. I guess you look at how many hits that they brought to the market in the 1980s, and it's incredible what their voices brought as far as range. You also have OMD. I mean, Paul Humphreys of OMD, who had the higher voice and actually was the vocalist for, frankly, my favorite OMD songs. Secret and Forever Live and Die were actually Paul Humphreys, not Andy McCluskey, who is actually the primary vocalist on most of the tracks, including If You Leave. But amazing vocal range with these artists that really put synth-pop on the map.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hit probably a few of those songs in here today. Okay, you mentioned Professor of Rock, and I'm glad you did, because just recently, we're filming this on, you'll see this later, but yesterday he faced some challenges with playing songs on, and we faced those too, where we get
copyright.
We get some copyright issues, right, when we play some of these tracks. So clips. And so I really appreciate Adam and his post yesterday, his live stream, talking about it, because it made me realize, I need to be more careful. We need to be more careful. So we decided, instead of playing clips, you're going to get to hear me battle through these intros. And that way, this episode will not get dinged whatsoever, because it's going to be really sad.
Oh, no worries. Well, and anyone with good taste will recognize any of the tunes.
You'll know the tunes, however much I slur it.
Those of you who aren't familiar, then you can bask in your mediocrity. So,
okay,
Brandon,
so we're going to...
What was your first concert that you attended in the 80s?
Great question.
First concert that I attended. It was actually, first concert that I attended was, I know I've got the cassette here. Gosh dang it. It was Survivor. So my first concert that I attended was at the Marriott Center in Provo.
Incredible.
It was Survivor and Cyndi Lauper, believe it or not, which was an incredible matchup. But
awesome.
Survivor's Vital Signs album, which is just, it has so many hits. If any of you go back and revisit this cassette tape of Survivor Vital Signs, you won't be disappointed. And that concert, I won the tickets off of the radio, like 94.9, where you're like the ninth caller. And I'm sitting there on my parents' phone in the basement, just war dialing. And I I remember the DJ was this guy, Evan Lake the Waterman, was what he went by. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, Evan Lake the Waterman.
Anyways,
The Waterman.
Because his last name's Lake.
yeah, and so I ended up winning the tickets off
That's
of the radio.
incredible.
I went to it with a guy. I was in junior high. I think it was in 7th grade. Went with a guy named Rennie Wardle. We're still dear friends to this
Rennie.
day.
Love Rennie.
Rennie's one of the most clever,
He's
talented
great,
guys of all
yes.
time. And
We love you, Rennie.
it was awesome. In fact, Survivor, Survivor was so powerful at the time. And of course, they were known for really doing the theme for Rocky, Eye of the Tiger. But the original vocalist for Eye of the Tiger was replaced by another guy. What's his name? Jimmy. I think it's Jimmy Jameson. But he ended up singing all of these hits from.
Is that Search Is Over?
Yeah, so hang on. Let's see if I remember this. I used to know these in junior high, so I remember going home after the Survivor concert and forcing myself to memorize several of their songs so I could play it. And let's see. Okay.
I
Gosh,
should have brought in a sustain pedal for you here, huh?
this is kind of a piece of shit. I say that in the most Christ-like way, but geez, oh me's.
Oh
Okay,
my gosh.
how do I do this? I know I've got it.
Oh, there it is.
Oh man.
Here, I'll bring it up. There you go. Try it again. Oh, sorry. There. Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
There
it
you
is.
go. That's great. That's
Oh,
awesome.
so you remember. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I plunked it out barely. That's the opening. But that was the first one. Good question. And
What was your in junior high? What clothing style would you say you associated with?
I was a skater. So I was a skater. I was
Nice.
more of a mod. I guess the most recent generations would call it emo.
Really?
I was more black. I dressed in mostly black. I had a mullet, and I had long bangs. I
have a mullet?
had long bangs and a mullet, and kind of hung out with the skater, the new wave crowd.
New wave is what I would have
Yeah,
pegged
the
you
band.
as. It's
And-
more to the new wave.
Yeah, more
Not
new
preppy,
wave. No,
but new wave.
yeah, not preppy, but you were right on. And but I also loved the stoner crowd too. That were wearing the Rat and Poison,
Yeah.
the Ozzy Osbourne shirts, and remember I had a radio show. You remember my radio
KPGR.
show? KPGR. So we had an FM radio station at Pleasant Grove High School called KPGR. We called it K-Pig. And I had the KPGR cult with a guy named Ryan Harris, the late Ryan Harris. He passed away, unfortunately, right after we graduated. He ended up having cancer and passing away within a few months, which was just tragic. But we had this KPGR cult radio show, and we would do everything from play records backwards. So we actually had a turntable, and I remember one of the most memorable experiences we had
incredible.
is we took Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, which was
yeah,
rumored
it was
to
like
have,
this.
and there was a message as you rewind it. We played some of the other songs to try to see if we could
Find some
tease out
messages.
some satanic messages. I mean, back then, the 80s was also known for the satanic panic. Everyone was worried
Especially in
about...
Pleasant Grove.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Jay's Journal.
Jay's Journal and
Yeah.
so-called devil worshippers, which was really blown out of proportion. But I remember even in elementary school, me and my buddies, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. And Dungeons and Dragons got banned from Alpine School District because of a whole long line of parents that claimed that it was the devil's game, that it was Satan worship to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not shitting you. Those are the times we lived in.
That was the
Those
80s.
are the
That was the
times.
80s.
So anyway,
So
sorry.
what got you started with the whole Skinwalker Ranch thing?
It's a very long story,
Oh,
but
okay.
in short, I was introduced to the opportunity to buy this enigmatic piece of property, this 512-acre parcel right out in the middle of the Uinta Basin that was known to be the center of gravity for more UFO sightings, bizarre cattle mutilations, and other strange phenomena. I was introduced by a couple of scientists that were consulting scientists with a technology project that I'd been involved in between 2010 and 2013. They were science advisors to Robert Bigelow, the elusive billionaire, aerospace billionaire, Bigelow Aerospace, who bought the ranch in 1996 from the ranchers when it was brought to the attention of the Deseret News and the community that there was all of this activity going on. Well, Mr. Bigelow in 2015 told his advisors that he was ready to potentially pass the torch to someone else. And he'd refocused his efforts on and invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the private space race. He'd bought NASA's Space Habitats program, and he was in the midst of negotiating and working with a young entrepreneur named Elon Musk that was launching SpaceX at the time in order to enable really colonization of space. So as he was positioning back in 9-10 years ago to be the real estate developer of space and put his modules, his space habitats, not only on the International Space Station, but also on the lunar surface and ultimately Mars, which I think will happen in the years to come. His eyes and his attention turned on, toward that, and he was not involved anymore as much with the day-to-day research activities at Skinwalker Ranch, which of course is the most scientifically studied paranormal hotspot on the planet. So I secretly bought it. I thought it was a bunch of baloney. I bought it as a skeptic. At that time in my life, I had not only gone through a faith crisis, but I had come to the conclusion that there really were no mysteries. The paranormal was just a bunch of bunk. I didn't believe in Bigfoot, let alone UFOs or anything of the sort. And I thought if people would just apply critical thinking skills and the scientific method, they would find that there really aren't any mysteries, that it can all be explained by science. So I bought the ranch under that kind of premise, that everything that had been reported, if there was a disciplined scientific investigation, that it could be disproved, that I could debunk it. And ultimately, my design was to donate it to the Boy Scouts of America. At the time, I was serving on the board of the National Parks Council at the Boy Scouts of America. I was an Eagle Scout, Two Palms, Order the Arrow. And I thought donating it to the scouting program for their use would be appropriate, but I first wanted to debunk it and make sure that, of course, even if there's a 1% chance that there's something truly unusual going on, I thought it was worth at least bringing a team of experts on board to study it, and the rest is history. I went from being a skeptic to not a believer, but an experiencer. I can't unsee that which I've witnessed with my own eyes, with multiple witnesses at my side in scientific instrumentation, recording, and documenting. I went from being an open-minded skeptic to an experiencer on October 14th of 2016. We were hosting a visiting physician, scientist, and his security detail. And on that day, everything went wrong. Everything from equipment malfunctioning, smartphones acting strangely, rapid battery depletion. We saw our smartphones, all of us, our group, went from like 80% charged to zero. Had to go back to the security trailer to plug our phones in to the extra charges we had on site. And one of the attending security professionals ended up being rendered catatonic for a period of 10 minutes. And then following all of those things, equipment malfunction, rapid battery depletion, acute medical episode, we're traveling back to retrieve our phones on the dirt road that runs at the base of this mesa plateau that runs the expanse of the property. So this property, it's strikingly beautiful and diverse in its landscape. It has this mesa plateau that runs east-west, these old pioneer homesteads that are near to its base, of waterways that snake through the property. And it's an unusually beautiful, mysterious backdrop. And as we're driving back on the dirt road at the base of this mesa plateau, all of a sudden, the gentleman in the back, the other security professional that was there attending for the day, started yelling, "Stop the vehicle." and was waving his hands up in the air. And I look back. I'm driving this open-air Polaris Ranger. You've been in one of those before, right? Yeah. And I'm looking back at him. I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? He's like, stop the vehicle. So I bring it to an abrupt stop. There's dust flying everywhere. And right above it, I watch where he's pointing. He's like, look. And right above the mesa, right in front of us, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on October 14th, 2016, in broad daylight, there was a 40, 50 foot long silver grayish disc-like object, about 100 feet above the mesa. Gosh. You could call it a flying saucer. And within seconds, it changed position in the blink of an eye. It literally moved about 50 feet within a blink. And then a few seconds later, it dropped. We're all looking at each other astonished. A few seconds later after that, it darts to the right. It's almost like it's positioning and scanning the property or even observing us, but changing position with split-second like speed and precision. And then it was gone. The whole event lasted all of 20 seconds. We were all sitting there stunned. The two security professionals that morning had expressed their skepticism and their unbelief relative to these topics, and they're sitting there speechless. And in that moment, everything changed. And you can't unsee that which you've witnessed with multiple witnesses, and the fact that we'd seen these other strange things happen immediately preceding that event added further weight to the fact that there was something going on in that space during that afternoon, that fateful afternoon. And from that point forward, I proceeded to sink millions, now tens of millions of dollars into funding what is the most, I think, advanced frontier science investigation of our time. And in 2020, I came out of the closet and went public as the owner of the ranch. I never intended to reveal that I was the owner. I didn't want my name associated with these topics in any way. Because I frankly didn't want it to compromise my primary business interests in commercial real estate and venture capital. And but in 2020, the top producer for the History Channel, a guy named Kevin Burns, who's passed away since, he Jedi mind tricked me into coming out as the owner and agreeing to allow television cameras inside the fence of this secure site, this private Area 51, if you will. And to document for the first time the very real research and experimental activities of my team, which I'd assembled. My team being, my head of security is my former Mormon mission companion. We served missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he was my senior companion in Hawaii, of all places. Yes, there is a mission there, and I hit the jackpot. Thank you. I suck. That's okay. And then, of course, Jim Morse. He's been our community liaison. Jim was my first client in commercial real estate at age 18. He has a special affinity for the Native American people, has raised millions for Native American scholarships with American Indian Services, and is an incredible confidant and advisor. Eric Bard, who's our consulting full-time chief scientist and physicist, who I've worked with since 2010. It's just a cast of individuals that I have a long relationship with. But I don't want to get off a mixtape. Let's get back to the music. But a little bit of an aside.
You have lived a life of an interesting life. How about that? Is that a good way to put it?
Well, we were raised on a steady diet of Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, George Lucas, you name it, Ridley Scott. And you look at today, and I feel like the life that I've been living seems like a strange mix some days of Raiders of the Lost Ark mixed with Goonies, mixed with Close Encounters, maybe a little Wall Street with Michael Douglas mixed in, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's a great show.
I thought you were going to say Wolf of Wall Street.
No, not that. Hey.
Just Wall Street.
Yeah, Wall Street.
we stopped
Wolf of Wall Street. It does not reflect our culture, but even
awesome.
though DiCaprio was
fantastic.
brilliant.
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks, Brandon. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
you were a skater. What kind of? Do you remember this type of skateboards you had?
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, nice. The old
I
school one.
I had a Peralta, but I
Al
remember
Peralta.
Tony Hawk, and one of my, I have many cherished items that I've collected in adulthood that are cultural artifacts of our generation that shape our worldview. And one of my cherished items is it's a Tony Hawk skateboard that is signed and personalized to me by Tony Hawk, which is awesome. And Tony Hawk was someone that was just on the rise. He was just a skater.
He kind of opened the door, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
No video games yet.
Yeah, I mean, no video games yet, but you look at all the games that were coming out. Remember Dragon's Lair and how much that would steal our money? It's like you'd have to put
It was like
buck,
$1.
like $1,
Yeah.
which was like
And then it would
putting
always break.
$5, and it broke, and the game would last 30 seconds, and you'd die.
Yes. Yes. I never got past the first level.
We were such suckers, and it was like
But it was a Laserdisc game.
well, it was either that or Spy Hunter. Remember Spy Hunter? Pole Position.
Spy
Anyways.
Hunter, fantastic.
So that was the end of part 1. We're going to break this episode up into multiple parts, maybe 2, maybe 3. End of part 1 with Brandon Fugal. Next week, catch part 2.